afternoon. The first question about mindfulness is often, what is it? Webster defines mindfulness as a mental state achieved by focusing on one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. Mindfulness is just that. It's being present without judgment of yourself, experiencing the moment, activity, event as a whole body. Mindfulness is something that would be helpful to practice at all times, but especially during this higher time of stress and worry. The second question is often, what is mindfulness? Why is it important? Mindfulness is a tool to help you become calmer, more focused, and engaged in life. Mindfulness also is a coping skill. Many of our other healthy coping skills require the use of a specific activity or a tool that may not always be available to do anywhere, such as yoga, going for a walk, talking with a close friend, participating in hobbies, etc. With mindfulness, there is no limit on when to use this coping skill, how to do it, and where you can participate. When being mindful, we strive to be present, aware, non-judgmental of ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, and our physical experiences. To be non-judgmental, we look to the experience, but we don't evaluate it. We identify if something's helpful or harmful, but not to pass an opinion, just to be aware. And we accept the moment without judging yourself, your experience, your thoughts, your feelings. The goal of mindfulness is to be present in life, to be able to walk away from rehashing our past experiences or imagining and worrying about the future. And at this point, many of us are doing just that. We're wondering and worrying about the future more than we're present in today. By doing this, we can lower our heart rate, we can slow our breathing, we can calm our central nervous system, and it releases the tensions in our muscles, all while returning to a positive engagement in the current present day, not worrying about everything else. Society is currently under a higher, longer lasting level of stress, fear, and worry than is felt in day-to-day life. Stressful situations like this cause an adrenaline rush. This usually helps an individual to cope during the first moments or days following a crisis. But the thing that happens is our adrenaline usually returns to a much lower level. And as that happens, we begin to find a new normalcy, a new routine, and the crisis dissipates. This would cause the level of stress to decrease, and then again, the adrenaline continues to go down until we return to whatever new norm we have. Currently, with the pandemic that is happening, there is no way to fully adjust to a new normal. The normal continues to change on a regular basis. These changes include our jobs change, our governmental changes, our school changes, and just generally the understanding and impact of the pandemic changes from day to day. Due to this, we are currently experiencing more adrenaline rushes, which leads us to feel distress, exhaustion, and can then lead to generally feeling out of control. During this time, it's even more important to practice mindfulness. This will slow the adrenaline rush. It will help us to cope better with the higher levels of stress, decreases the impact, and sometimes even the occurrence of the adrenaline rushes in the first place. Thus, we gain the ability to concentrate, focus, and in general, we gain mental stability. The final question about mindfulness is generally, well, how can I be mindful? As you become mindful and aware, you become aware that the options are limitless in how you can practice being mindful. If you are breathing and present in a room, you can be mindful. But to start, we generally recommend practicing with things that require more concentration and focus, more in-depth steps to help you to complete each one and feel as you're accomplishing this goal of mindfulness. I'm going to walk through 3 mindful activities together with you today that require these steps, some focus. And I'm going to give you information towards the end about others that you can do on your own and with a small group. I encourage you to follow along and try each of these activities as I walk through it, but also to pick one each day and practice it going forward. The first activity I'm going to tell you about is called the 5 senses. This particular mindfulness activity helps to slowly focus more on a final point than focusing on everything that's going on around us. We will use our senses to help us slow down and be more at peace. The goal is to focus on each step as we do it. You will be identifying things in your environment. We do this by using our natural senses to slowly refocus on ourselves. We will identify things that fit with each sense with a little detail. This helps us to focus on that object for a few seconds and pulls us again back to our environment we are in. The goal is not to simply state a window, a door, etc., but to describe it as though someone else could envision it. So an example may be a brown door with a silver handle, a glass window with a cream casing and a blue curtain. As we go through, each sense is completed. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, nice and slowly, so that you can move on to the next step. So now I'm going to prompt you through this activity. I'm going to pause and I'm going to complete each activity stage in my own head. And I encourage you to say it out loud, speak it to those around you, or if you're by yourself, saying it out loud so you can refocus yourself. At the end, I will prompt to take a breath, and then we will move on to the next one. The first thing we're going to focus on is we want to look at 5 things we can see. Again, we want to give a little bit of detail without going too in depth. So you can go ahead and start, and we'll take a breath at the end. As you complete, take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly blow it out through your mouth. We will now move on to 4 things that you can touch or feel. I want you to take the time to actually touch the objects. Like I'm going to touch my shirt, I would touch my computer, as I'm describing what that feels like as I'm touching the object. You can begin, and we will again prompt to take a deep breath at the end. And take a deep breath. Now identify 3 things you can hear, again with a slight detail to be able to focus on it for a second. Take a deep breath. Now identify 2 things in your environment that you can smell, again with a slight definition and understanding of what they are. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And finally, you're going to try to take 1 thing that you can taste in your mouth currently. Identify it, take a deep breath through your nose and out through your mouth. Take that deep breath. That is the first and easiest activity to use. It can be done anywhere at any time. You need nothing special to complete this. This is a great tool to use when you're going into something you know will be stressful, such as a presentation, a meeting, a test, or anything else that you know you're going to walk into a situation and immediately feel stressed because of what is happening. The second activity we will be doing together The second and third both are palm exercises. So the first one we're going to do is going to focus on your breathing. I don't know about you guys, but I do struggle when people tell me to concentrate on my breathing because I feel like I sometimes then have more trouble breathing. So I have found that when doing mindfulness activities, it's better to focus on something else while focusing on your breathing. So you're going to take the palm of your hand, you're going to hold it up. I want you to pay attention to everything that happens on your palm while also paying attention to your breathing. Don't judge any thought that may pop into your head. Gently refocus on the activity you are completing. Don't worry if you get distracted. Just come back to what you're doing. You're going to lift your other hand. You take your index finger and make a pointer. And you're going to start at the base of your thumb, and you're just going to slowly slide your finger up your thumb, and then down and up and down. And you're going to do this all the way around your hand. As you go up a finger, you're going to breathe in. As you go down, you're going to breathe out. You're going to go in through your nose and out through your mouth. The goal is not to race and get breath quickly. The goal is to take slow, deep breaths. So we're going to begin. As we get all the way over, we're going to then come back. And we're going to do the exact same thing coming back. You're going to take slow breaths up and let it out slowly. And you're going to come all the way back until you get back to yourself. I'm going to do this with you, and then I will pause for a few seconds afterwards to let you finish if you have not caught up with me. And then we will move on to the next activity. So we're going to put your palm up, spread those fingers so you can get between them. Take your index finger and start here. And breathe in. As you sit and do that activity now, think on what you felt while you were doing it. Oftentimes it's described to me that you can feel a tickling or a tingling sensation as you're going up and down your hand. This helps us to have a sensory connection with ourselves, which then again helps us to slow those adrenaline rushes. It causes us to be more focused. And you're paying attention to that, so you're not paying attention to everything else. Again, slowing our adrenaline rush and making us more focused. So that was the second one. You did one hand. Now I want you to do the third one on your other hand. This is called finger palm mindfulness. To do this, you're going to hold your hand up and you're going to take your index finger again. You want to use the opposite hand because you already kind of triggered your senses and your nerves in your one hand. So now we want to be able to feel it in the other. So we want to use the other hand. You take your index finger, you're going to put it on the palm of your hand. It really doesn't matter where, just make it in the palm of your hand. After you do that, you're going to simply start moving your finger around your palm. As you do this, I want you to notice the sensation. I want you to feel the tingle, the tickle, and I want you to notice your breathing. We're not going to worry about other things. If a thought pops in our head, we want to say, I see you and goodbye, and come back to paying attention to the sensations on your hand. We're going to pause and do this for 1 to 2 minutes. And at the end, we will take a deep breath. Continue those slow, deep breaths as we do this exercise. Hold your hand up, take your other pointer, and start. The great thing about this exercise is you can do it until your hand stops tingling and responding. If you still do not feel calm, you raise the other hand and you move on to the other. And you begin to do the same thing. Feel your finger, trace it, keep going. This is a great exercise because you can bounce back and forth between hands. As soon as one hand has had a break for a minute, it will start to respond again. Again, sometimes we're in situations where we need to be longer mindful or we need to be more focused. This is also a great exercise because I can put my hands below my desk. I can put my hands on the desk. I can hide my hands in all kinds of ways, and no one would ever know that I would be doing a mindfulness activity, especially in those meetings, those classrooms, those times that we're anxious. No one has to know that you're doing this activity or even recognize it, which is a great skill to have available to you when you're in your professional and in personal life. Doing these 3 types of activities every day at least one time will lower your stress level. It's going to increase your ability to remain focused and positively affect your overall mental health. In this time of stress, in this time of news constantly being thrown at us and bombarded, and the constant changes that are happening in our world, it is really important that we do anything and everything we can to stabilize our mental health, to give us a chance to deal with these changes as positively as possible. These activities take such a short amount of time that we all could find time to do them in our day. I'm now going to give you 3 other activities that you can complete. I'm going to walk through how to do them. We will not do them together because they take a little bit of different time and different thoughts. One is very quick, another is longer, and then another is a more advanced mindfulness. As I go through these, they will be available for you with directions. I will include directions for the 3 mindfulness activities we have already done, for these 3 mindfulness activities, and I am going to provide some links to a couple other great websites that have mindfulness activities, all of which you can access after this. The other easy, great mindfulness activity that I love, and I think we all should use it every time we turn around all day long. It's called the yawn and stretch. Sounds simple, sounds easy, but every hour during the day, if we just take 10 seconds and stretch our arms, moving around slightly, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, and have a good yawn while you're doing it, your body will start to relax. The goal for you is to pay attention to the feelings in your body, to pay attention to your breathing during that time, to again, not be judgmental and not be focused on ourselves, all of which will help you to relax. This mindfulness activity has been recommended time and time again in therapy sessions and presentations I have sat in, to do it every day, every hour or 2. It is a quick, easy, fast mindfulness way to get recentered. The second activity that I enjoy describing and I enjoy having people do is called a category name everything activity. The great thing about this activity is it's one of the few mindfulness activities that actively require you and somebody else to do it. You can do it by yourself, but especially in small groups or families, or in a situation that you and somebody else may be sitting waiting on something, it is a great activity just to kind of get your mind resettled and refocused. The other thing about this particular activity is when we do it with somebody else, we all have our natural competitive sides to help us to engage in a longer period of mindfulness. To do the category name everything activity, all you need to do is simply pick a category. I have had people do movie titles, restaurants, food types, fruits and vegetables, animals at the zoo, or animals of any kind. There is absolutely no wrong answer as to what your category is. You simply name the category, make sure you and somebody else, if you're doing it with somebody else, if it's you alone, that you have plenty of ideas. We wouldn't want to say name the colors of the rainbow. That would not be a very long activity. We want to make it something that we can be more in depth with. So again, animals at the zoo, you can go on for quite a while. This activity can take up to however long you want. I've done this with people and it's taken 10, 15 minutes before they've ran out of activity, or excuse me, ran out of items that fit into that category. That has helped them to be completely relaxed and calm. All you're going to do is you're going to name something, the other person's going to name something, then you're going to name something, the other person's going to name something, and you keep going in that way until one of you can't name another item. That person then becomes not the winner and the other person is the winner. Again, we're not really focused on who's going to win or who's going to not. It's really something that just requires you to stop and think. If we have other thoughts that come into our head during this activity, push them aside. Don't stress about finding another thing. It's just fun. Have fun with it, be present, and you will find that you are able to relax in the end and feel much calmer. This is a great activity for families, especially. I have done this with my own family. We have done this on road trips when everybody is getting unsettled in the car. Anytime we have a long wait for something, I have done this. I've done this with families at hospitals, you name it, you can do it anywhere. And it really helps to calm your senses and be present. The last activity that I'm going to share with you is called the cloud or river exercise. This one takes some more advanced mindfulness because you really have to focus and visualize. But as you work through the other activities, you can get to the place where you can do this and really have some success with it. I want you to take a second, I want you to take a second and notice a thought or a feeling associated with that thought. So you might notice the thought and then have the feeling associated with it. So it could be, I have a test today and I'm really scared. You take those two thoughts and feelings and you place them on a log. Close your eyes as you do this. Place it on the log in your head, and I'm putting down my thought if I have a stress, and my feeling, or excuse me, that I have a test, and my feeling that I have stress about it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that log in the river, or I'm going to put it on a cloud, and I'm going to watch them both float away. Either way is fine. It doesn't matter what's right or wrong. You can put it on a boat. It does not matter. It's put it on something and watch it float away from you so that you no longer hold on to those thoughts and feelings. The goal of that is that you will be calmer because you've gotten rid of the stressor. There are many other mindful meditations on YouTube, and simple Google searches regarding mindful activities provide you with multiple reputable websites that have other various mindful activities. As you practice, you will find that mindfulness activities are limitless, and you will be able to find more and more things that are helpful and are able to help you refocus.